take a look at these vast expanses of ice sheets, mountains, glaciers, and icebergs. Even though this place is absolutely beautiful, it will kill us. Despite the fact over 56,000 people defy the odds every single day, carving out their existence in one of the world's harshest environments. Almost 80% of Greenland has an extremely harsh and hostile environment that makes existence of life almost impossible, at least when it comes to human settlement. Now, why would someone choose to live in such a hostile region with limited food, no agriculture, and basically a place which is trying to kill you? You see, Greenland has always been harsh and uninhabitable since the dawn of time. And most of the modern Greenlanders are the descendants of early Inuit settlers who came to the world's biggest island almost 1,000 years ago. And for generations, they have been adapting and learning the skills of surviving on this alien island, where for most of us, living such a life is almost unfathomable. And they do it with a smile on their face. And they have a great sense of community, tradition, and a positive attitude towards life living in such a harsh place. You see, most of the Greenlanders live on the southern and southwestern coast of Greenland and on tiny islands and fjords scattered across the coastline, because the coast is the only place which is relatively less harsh than the more rugged and mountainous interiors. NUUK, which is the largest town and the capital of Greenland, situated on the southwestern coast, has a third of the entire Greenland's population of around 56,000 residents. And their livelihood mostly depends on the fishing industry, which contributes up to 50% of Greenland's total GDP of over $3 billion. Around 90% of fish caught and processed in Greenland is exported to different parts of the world. Moreover, Greenland's geographic position at the North Pole makes it easier to reach both Western and Eastern markets of the world. However, Greenlanders have to face unique challenges that completely alters the way people make food available for themselves and their community. You see, almost 2/3 of Greenland is above the Arctic Circle, which means the place gets extremely cold during the winters, with areas that sink into complete darkness for weeks and even months. The only means of catching their food, like boats, freeze over frozen bodies of water. But these massive frozen expanse of waters does something wonderful for the people. It opens up infinite masses of temporary land floating above the waters that are still warm and has food. And the Greenlanders, using their dog sledge and snowmobiles, set out to find possible fish locations, dig holes, set net traps, and ultimately catch their food. Even though the place is ever-changing, its people have the knowledge to pull through every possible situation Mother Nature throws at them. And this positive attitude comes to them from their ancestors who have lived here for centuries. According to the historical accounts, Greenland was settled by a Norwegian Icelander, Erik the Red, who was exiled from Iceland for manslaughter. With nowhere to go, he set out in his ships with his supporters in search of a new land for settlement, eventually reaching the shores of Greenland. But unfortunately, Erik and his crew's hopes were completely shattered, looking at the endless white sheets of ice, bone-freezing temperatures, and not a single sign of life. However, as resilient he was determined to settle a community on his newfound land. Therefore, in order to attract more settlers to the land, Erik the Red lied about the place that it was lush, green, and very welcoming, giving the island its name, Greenland. And it worked. So basically, Greenland, which is not at all green and extremely hostile, was in fact settled on a lie. And since then, the name Greenland, with its ironic history, has stuck forever. However, practices like dog sledding and traditional seal hunting are not all over Greenland, especially in the capital town of NUUK. Life in NUUK is much more modern with technological amenities, road infrastructures, schools, offices, university, and more availability of diverse food, fruits, and vegetables that are imported from Denmark and other regions. There is another challenge that is out of Greenland's control.
Climate change.
Due to climate change.
Climate change.
Climate change.
Climate change is becoming an increasing problem for the whole world, but for Greenland and its people, it could be an existential threat. For the last 100 years, the Arctic region has been constantly warming and melting fresh ice at twice the global rate, diluting the salinity of seawater, negatively impacting marine life. This forces large schools of fishes and seals to migrate down towards south, where water is much more saline, but unfortunately is more warmer, which is also unfavorable. And this situation is constantly depleting the major food sources for Greenlanders and is also a threat to its fishing-based economy. However, like every cloud has a silver lining, there is still hope for Greenland. At least that's what the world thinks. You see, melting of ice in Greenland has revealed significant amounts of natural resources, and major countries like the United States are very interested in Greenland. Now, this could be a good news for America, but it's not at all good news for Greenland. Because once countries like US, Canada, China, and other European countries start to explore and exploit the pristine and fragile ecosystem of Greenland, it will only benefit and satisfy the economic greeds of these first world nations and will leave Greenland and its people's homes torn in pieces with increased pollution, severe warming, and depleted predominant source of Greenlanders' support systems. Despite these challenges, Greenland stands strong to protect its land, its people, and its culture, even if it has to face the greedy world. And for this, Greenland has already sprung into action to become an independent country. Since 1721, Greenland has been in Denmark's territory, and all major political, economic, and military decisions are made by Denmark to run Greenland. However, anticipating the consequences of climate change and resource exploitation, Greenland is slowly gearing up for full autonomy. And one of the biggest reasons to do so is because in the year 2019, the US expressed its desire to purchase Greenland from Denmark due to its strategic position and resource-rich habitat.
And strategically for the United States, it would be nice.
And Greenland's administration fears that maybe in future, Denmark may show signs of selling Greenland if the price is right. It's true, you can put a price on a piece of land and its resources, but how would you put a price on its people, their way of living, and their culture? Because it's not just a story of an isolated frozen piece of land with a bunch of people living in it. It's a story of a community that's built upon centuries of adaptation, survival skills, and a great sense of community. This is what gives a meaning to their lives and gives them their identity. This is Stories Across, and thank you for watching.